Hello my dear friends, you're in the Military Summary channel, and this video we're going to discuss the most important events that took place during the previous 12 hours. We have a lot of very interesting updates, so let's start. And first we're going to talk about Kyiv, because today Zelensky is going to present us his peace plan, where he is going to describe the next steps of Ukraine in achieving the victory and the borders of 1991. But telling the truth, the morning of the 16th of October, Wednesday of 2024, didn't start very well for Ukraine authorities and Zelensky himself, because currently there is a very big and huge protest in the central part of Kyiv. Of course, there are not like hundreds or millions or thousands of people there, but telling the truth, this is most likely the biggest protest since the beginning of the special military operation, and people came on streets with one question: where are their relatives, where are their friends, where are their fathers, brothers, sisters, mothers, where are those people that were sent in the Pokrovsk and in the Kursk direction? Because a few weeks ago they had connections with them, and today they have nothing. And you know that as for this protest, people are here, according to information we have, are just to ask where are their relatives that were sent in the Pokrovsk direction. And you know that today also there was published very interesting statistics by the Western media, by the Western military experts. I'm not saying that the numbers that we will discuss right now are correct. We're just discussing them because some information was published by the Western analytics, and according to information we have since the beginning of the special military operation, according to the Western military experts, the Ukrainian lost up to 1.8 million people. 1.8 million people, of which 780,000 were killed. So this is the information that currently is spreading by the different Telegram channels and the internet resources. We're not saying that this information is correct. Maybe this is a speculation or wishful thinking or attempt to ruin Ukrainians. Zelensky plans to present his peace plan, where we see the numbers of losses, we see the huge protest in the central part of Kyiv. Because as for the losses, I am making my own calculations, estimations regarding the losses, and I'm using the numbers that were provided by the Ministry of Defense of Russian Federation. And according to Russians, the Ukrainians since the beginning of the special military operation lost just 829,710 people, so twice less than the numbers that were provided by different military Western experts. Now let's move further and let's talk about the Kursk direction, where the Ukrainians are suffering the biggest losses ever. According to information we have, during the previous 24 hours, the Russians managed to improve their positions in the vicinity of the village by the name of Olgovka. This territory was considered as a contested area, and the Russians managed to improve their positions in the vicinity of Sheptuhovka. Let's discuss in details. In the vicinity of Olgovka, the Russian sources published the video of how the Russian soldiers were moving through the village. The village was obviously already secured by the Russians, or the Ukrainians retreat, and now the Russians are entering empty village, entering a settlement with the purpose to finish the clearing operation. We see just lonely chickens that were running from one building to another. That's it about the settlement. So based on this video we have adjusted the map based on the geolocation that we managed to discover of Russian moving along the street. Now let's move further. As for the northern flank, in the vicinity of Sheptuhovka, the Russian sources published the video of destroyed Challenger, the Challenge 2 tank, and this is exactly the place where the Ukrainian tank was destroyed, and the Russian press media was moving exactly around this place. Based on this video we have adjusted this forest in Russian favor as well. Currently there are very heavy clashes in the village of Lyubimovka. There are still very heavy clashes. The Ukrainians are encircled there, and in this video we can see how the Ukrainians were bombing and attacking the territory of church that was taken by the Russians, and the Ukrainians are bombing, as you can see. Based on this video we have adjusted the part in the vicinity of the church. Furthermore, we have another video that was published by pro-Ukrainian sources, and in this video we can see huge Russian convoy that were moving from the village of Kornevo in the direction of the village by the name of Lyubimovka. There are lots of episodes, lots of places where the Russian convoy was moving, so most likely based on this video we will continue adjusting the map, and maybe the situation been taking place somewhere in the central part. We still haven't managed to geolocate the entire video, but most likely something like this happened. So maybe during this upcoming day we're gonna adjust the map of Lyubimovka, probably completely in Russian favor. Now let's move to the Kharkiv direction. Yesterday we discussed the situation in the vicinity of the village by the name of Zhuravlyovka. There was reports from pro-Ukrainian sources that the Russians were trying to break through the Ukrainian defense belt, to break the border and to enter the territory of Kharkiv region from the north, like trying to open another front line. And the Russians were using the significant number of armored vehicles and tanks, but they were destroyed. Then the Russians managed to concentrate some forces on the territory of Zhuravlyovka, but those vehicles were attacked by the Ukraine FPV drones and destroyed. And it was very difficult to understand what was happening, because once again the Ukrainians are saying that the Russians were trying to break through the border. But today, on the 16th of October, we got first geolocations that confirm Ukrainian presence on the territory of Russian Federation. So this is the video that was published by the Russian sources, and in this video we can see how the Russians were bombing the forest to the southwest of Zhuravli, the village of Zhuravlyovka, and this video confirms the Ukrainian presence and that Ukrainians captured the forest completely. So based on this video, we have adjusted the map in Ukrainian favor. Something unexpected was made by the Ukrainians, and now the Russians are trying to force the Ukrainians to fall back from this forest, but I have some doubts that the Russians are able to do this right now. Now let's move to the Kupyansk direction, and we have a lot of reports, and the most important is that the local authorities have announced the complete evacuation. So in this video, for example, we can see military car that was moving through the streets, through the city, and there was a special equipment that Ukrainians were using to announce complete evacuation. The driver was asking people to leave Kupyansk as fast as possible, because soon there are going to be very heavy clashes. Indeed, there are going to be very heavy clashes, because according to pro-Russian sources, Russians managed to establish complete control over the territory from Kolesnikovka to Kruglyakivka, and the Russians managed to reach the river of Oskil physically. So we still haven't received any geolocation that can confirm this, but very reliable pro-Russian sources are saying that currently this territory is already under complete Russian control, and this is a very big and huge disaster for the Ukrainians, because the battle for Kupyansk is going to start. One thing I would like to point your attention is the situation in the vicinity of the village by the name of Dvorichne. So we haven't been talking about this territory for probably 2 years. There were some talks in the 2022, maybe in the beginning of 2023, and after that we stopped talking about the settlement. But if we increase the numbers of this since the beginning of October, we're gonna see that since the beginning of the month there were a lot of very big, large Russian activity, a lot of FPV drone attacks and artillery strikes. So something tells me that most likely the Russians, to attack the city of Kupyansk from the north, are going to cross the river of Oskol in the vicinity of Dvorichne and to begin moving like this, trying to outflank the Kupyansk from the north. So most likely this is going to happen, and don't be surprised when we're gonna see these updates and changes on the map. Now let's move to the Siversk area, and we have adjusted completely the territory and the map in the vicinity of Verkhnyakamyansk, including Verkhnyakamyansk itself, in Ukrainian favor. Today we received a significant number of geolocations of how the Russians were attacking the stronghold in the eastern part of Verkhnyakamyansk with the tall slam tower systems. This is the first evidence that confirms the Ukrainian presence in this area. Later we got a few more videos of how the Russians were FPV droning the Ukrainian forces in the same area. Based on all these videos, based on this significant number of episodes, we have adjusted the map back in Ukrainian favor. So most likely the video with the Russian flag in the most western part of Verkhnyakamyansk was just a fake. I believe that somebody will be punished for this, but now we understand the real situation on the ground. Now let's move further. We have lots of changes, small changes on the ground in the city of Toretsk. During the previous 24 hours, the Russians managed to improve their positions. We have a lot of geolocations. The Ukrainian sources published a significant number of FPV drone attacks on the edge Russian positions in the central part of the city of Toretsk and in the eastern part as well. So lots of geolocations, a lot of changes on the ground, and we have made additional corrections. Now let's move further, and we continue receiving a lot of updates from the southern part of Chasiv Yar. If we increase the numbers of updates since the beginning of the week, we're gonna see that the Russians are pretty focused in this area. I'll remind you that during the previous few days, the Russians managed to cross the Seversky Donetsk-Donbass river and to capture this territory, and after that, the Russians began bombing and attacking the southern part of Chasiv Yar with a significant number of TOS flamethrower systems, aviation bombs, and artillery strikes. Everything tells us that the Russians are about to begin the full-scale offensive operation in the southern part of Chasiv Yar with the purpose to defeat the Ukrainians completely and to take the city under complete Russian control. Obviously, this is going to happen very, very soon. So let's wait for additional updates from this direction as well. Now let's move further and let's talk about the Pokrovsk direction. We have a lot of interesting updates. There are very heavy clashes and very difficult situation for the Ukrainians in the city of Selidovo. The Russians continue their outflanking maneuvers, and today pro-Ukrainian mappers also confirmed the information that the Russians have outflanked the city of Selidovo from the south. We received these updates during the previous days, but pro-Ukrainian sources confirmed this just today. Also, pro-Ukrainian sources confirmed that the Russians managed to establish complete control over the village of Ostrivskaya. We haven't received anything from Gornyak and Kurachovka agglomeration. Furthermore, we got additional changes on the ground according to pro-Russian sources on the line between the village of Bagayavlenka and the city of Ugledar. According to pro-Russian sources, the Russians managed to improve their position significantly, and currently the Russians control everything that is located inside of this red line. And currently the distance between edge Russian positions in the city in the tree lines to the west of Vadiana and Bagayavlenka itself is already less than 2 kilometers. The battle for the village is about to be started. Furthermore, we have reports that Ukrainians are trying to reinforce their positions to build additional trenches, but obviously the Ukrainians lost their times. They will not be able to complete everything in time, and the clashes are going to begin very soon. And if the Ukrainians lose Bagayavlenka, then they're going to have a very big hole in their defense, and everything can collapse automatically. As for the Zaporizhzhia direction, pro-Ukrainian sources confirmed additional progress on the ground. I reminded that different mappers have already adjusted their maps in Russian favor yesterday and the day before yesterday. And that's it for the short video. Military Summary channel reminds we condemn any violence in the world. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel, put your likes, share my Patreon, and have a good day. Bye bye.